Well, kia ora, good evening, and welcome to the 59th episode of the Huddy Hui. We've come to it. It's the big semi-finals of the Jubilee and Hardham Cup, and it's fitting that our guest tonight is someone that has won 3 Jubilee Cups in his time with the Tawa Rugby Football Club. He's also played for this very good side up here too, the Wellington Saints. Our guest tonight is Randall Bishop. Randall, many thanks for joining the Huddy Hui tonight. Of course, last Saturday you bet Pornick in your prelim semi-final, 36 points to 16. You had beaten them a few weeks earlier in the Swindale Shield. What was your key to your victory over the Street Kids last weekend?
Thanks for having me. I think the key to that victory and the key for like our last five weeks or so since we've got on a bit of a run is just accuracy. In the start of the season, our accuracy was letting us down a little bit, but we're showing like when we're accurate, we're pretty hard to stop, and that's kind of proving the case over the last 4 weeks or so. We've kind of picked up some momentum.
Yeah, slow start to the season for Tawa. Of course, it was a very similar picture to last year as well, but you seem to be peaking well at the key stage of the season. What have been some of the changes that you've put in place to sort of get you to where you are at the moment?
As I said, the main thing was accuracy. Like at the start of the season, we're making a lot of unforced errors, and we've had a key focus to changing that. But a big key that's what's been helping us over the last 5 weeks is Trent Renato being inserted into the line. His experience, and he's just putting us in the right end of the field. He's got a big boot on him, and since he started playing, we've been playing pretty good.
So Trent Renato is also supposed to be assistant coach as well. He's certainly turning back the clock, isn't he?
He does a bulk of the coaching, and he's just got that respect from the boys there. So. When he's out there doing the job with us, it's pretty awesome, and he's playing pretty well too at the moment. I think he's probably kicking like 90% goal kicks since he started coming on, and he just got that extra length on his punting, and he's just putting us in the right places. And it's going pretty good.
Tawa is a team of a mixture of young and old players. Tell us about some of the young guns coming through the Tawa system.
We've got heaps of young guns coming through. I think our first Swindale Shield game this year, we had 5 or 6 kids straight out of school. Our halfback was only 17, he's out of Poro College. He's a good player. And then our first 5 starting against Manor St. Pat's was Fuka. He's straight out of school too, and he's a good player too. But we've got a lot of young guns coming through. I think so. We've got because we've got the three teams. So we've got the Colts, then we got the senior first, and we got the Prems, and a lot of the Colts boys are playing in the senior first and Prems. So it's leaving our Colts depleted every week. Some weeks they go into games only 16 players, but if we could, field our top strengths, Colts side would be pretty good.
3 times you've won the Jubilee Cup. Last year, of course, was a very impressive final against Manor St. Pat's, where you literally won the game at halftime. Let's talk about the year when you first won it. Actually, that was under the old format of the Jubilee Cup. We actually had to play a full round before you got to the Jubilee Cup finals. You lost your first 3 games in that season. You ended up going on to win the Jubilee Cup that year. What was the key changes that happened there?
I think that year was more about belief. Tawa hadn't won the Swindale Shield or Jubilee Cup in the history of the club. And historically, we'd been, since previous to that 2013 year, we'd been in Hardham Cup. I think my first year there was 2011, my first year at Tawa, 2011. And we won the Hardham Cup. And the following year, 2012, we just scraped through the Jubilee. And then the following year, 2013, we ended up winning Swindale and Jubilee Cup in that same year. But I think, for us, it was more about belief. And, we got that first win in, round 4, and then we just started building more and more belief. And then, coming through, we ended up winning the Swindale, and then we won the Jubilee Cup too. So, it was pretty awesome. But that team was pretty special. I think in the final, only myself and Jeff Makapilu were the only non-pros in that lineup. We had like Steve Sualo just came back from England. James Sualo just came back from France. Obviously, had Sean Truby at 12. Alfred Pilanesi on one wing, And then even we had at centre, Timothy. We had Timothy at centre, and he was a good player too.
Out of those the 3 Jubilee Cup finals that you've been involved in, which is your favourite and why?
Oh, they're all pretty special in their own right. They're pretty different. But I'll probably say that first one, mainly because 2 years prior to that, we were battling out in the Hardham Cup, and I remember that year, 2011, in the Hardham Cup, we ended up playing North Senior first on Ngāti Toa number 3, and the grass was like up to your knees, and those are the hard times that me and Steve talk about, where the kids that are coming through the Tawa these days, they don't get to experience. Like, there's kids coming straight out of school and walking straight into Jubilee Cup finals and winning Jubilee Cup finals, and that wasn't always the case back then when we first got to Tawa. So yeah, that would have to be the most memorable year. But I think that year, 2013, we won every trophy available.
Wow.
We won the Swindale Shield, Jubilee Cup, obviously, Bill O'Brien, and then we even won the Sevens that year, the Ambassadors as well.
Of course, just recently, Tawa celebrated 75 years as a club, but it was also a special milestone for you too as well. 150 games, a fitting occasion for you. And how were the celebrations for your 150th and the 75th?
Yeah, no, the celebrations were awesome. We had a lot of people, a lot of ex-club members travel all over the country. We had a guy come from San Francisco just for the weekend. But it was also pretty special because they picked it's Jubilee's a 75th year team of Tawa, and then so they kind of picked the starting team and then a bench team. I picked the bench team. I was made on the bench team with TJ Fermanis, but in the starting team there was Timmy Fermanis, and then we had 2 uncles who have passed on now that made the team too. So Pico Arthur, he was actually the starting fullback. And that centre was our other uncle, Robert Solomon, who was obviously from the area we're from, the Pa. But yeah, they passed on now. So that was pretty special too, to be like named in the team alongside those guys.
Okay, so a big occasion for the Bishop family as well this weekend. You won't be there because you've got your own semi-final to play in. But your cousin Takahu brings up 100 games for Northern United.
Yeah, no, that's an awesome occasion. Awesome for him. He's been at the club for a while. We give each other stick all the time. When they lose a game, I'm on the messenger flicking him a message, and then when we lose a game, he's sending me messages too. So that's going to be awesome. But hopefully, we talk about it all the time how good it will be if Tawa and North match up on the final one time.
Well, yeah, that could be that could split the family, couldn't it? That one there. So.
Yeah, no, that'd be huge. That'd be awesome.
Let's go back to your time at Manor College. Of course, you're now a teacher there. We'll talk about your time teaching shortly. But as a player, you were part of some big occasions there with Tawa College in the first 15. What was it like in those years playing for the first 15? And what was one of your big games?
Yeah, no. So at Manor College, I played both basketball and rugby. And the basketball team was pretty successful in my year. Back then, we called it sixth form and seventh form. So in our sixth form and seventh form year, we lost 2 high school games, and they were both in the national finals, back to back. So the first year we lost to Avondale College, and then the second year we lost to Westlake College when I was year 13, they call it now, but seventh form back then. And that Westlake team, they had their 2 best players were Corey Webster and Thomas Abercrombie.
That's right, yeah.
So yeah, they had a pretty good team. But then also that year we had a pretty successful sports season that year when I was seventh form, because we made the national finals in the basketball, but we also ended up making the Premier Rugby finals against Wellington College. We the week before the final we knocked over St. Pat Silverstream out there in the semi-final, and that was won 3 Jubilee Cups, but that semi-final against St. Pat Silverstream is probably the biggest achievement or the best, rugby memory of my life.
Of course, they've had some big players in that team as well, Matt Leomanu as well. So actually go out there to Silverstream, that's a massive result particularly out there for a
Back
semi-final.
then, Matt Manu was bigger than he was when he was a pro. Because I think they had to drop a bit of weight when he was a pro. He was huge, man.
Of course, now you're teaching at Manor College. You're a PE teacher. I believe you're in your first year. How have you found going back and teaching at your old college?
No, it's awesome. It's awesome trying to, help the youth path. Path their own futures. And make their own way through life. And then I'm just enjoying helping them in that sense, as well as on the sports field too. I'm part of the coaching staff for the senior basketball team, and I'm part of the coaching staff for the first 15 as well. So I help with the backs of the first 15 on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I just can't get to the games because we have our own game. But I'm really enjoying the day. Enjoy getting out there, staying busy, and it's awesome.
And the first 15, it's been a tough season for them as well. But Manor's basketball side has a strong history. How are they going this year?
So last year we had a really, really strong team. We ended up losing in the final against Scots by a point or two. Yeah. But 3 of our starting 5 have gone on to higher honours, and 2 of them are part of the Saints setup, and one of them signed the contract with the Manor 2 Jets. So we've lost a lot of scoring power in that sense, but we're still trucking along. Obviously we're not an awesome team, but we're a decent team, and we're battling. We're not too bad.
Yeah, and of course, you got a scholarship over to America, to Minnesota, but that was a bit of a short stay because I think you got homesick. But what was it like going over there to the on a scholarship to America?
Yeah, so before leaving, I thought it was awesome. Yep. But when I got there, the culture shock was just too much, and then so I arrived there in August. The season started in September. I stayed there till about January. So we went on we won the conference. Then we went to regionals. We got knocked out of regionals, and once regionals was finished, season was done. And because I was so homesick, I booked the plane ticket and came home.
Yeah.
But it kind of ended up working out for the good because so when I arrived back in New Zealand, I went away to the under-19 nationals. We ended up coming 3rd, but when I arrived home, the very night I arrived home, I got a call from Nick Mills from the Saints.
Yeah.
And their 2 point guards got injured. So I walked straight into the Saints. I think I started the first few games, and then I finished the season out. So their 2 point guards got injured for the rest of the season. So that last half of the season, I was playing a lot of minutes with them. So the timing actually worked out pretty good.
The Wellington Saints, one of the most titles in NBL history. Tell us about what it's like being part of the Saints family, and also the owner himself, Nick Mills, who's built a pretty impressive basketball franchise.
Yeah, it was awesome. The Saints is one of the most professional outfits, going around in all professional sport in New Zealand. But when I first arrived there, so we were just, I guess we weren't a super team as what the Saints are now. So my first year, I arrived in, and then there was those 2 injuries, and then that following year, we started buying up a whole load of players, and it seemed to work. And then so halfway through that season, so that second season I was the backup point guard, and halfway through that season they brought in Lindsay Tate, so I ended up being the 3rd string. But then from there, because they was just pretty successful, they just ended up following that path and bringing guys in, and they didn't look back. And I think we won that year, and then year after year, they've either been in the finals or won it.
Tell us about that year in 2010 when you won the title with the Saints, because that sort of started a long period of a legacy there.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome to be, day in, day out, competing with guys like Lindsay Tate. One of the best imports that I've seen come out here, his name's Eric Devendorf. He probably had the talent to go in the NBA. He's probably one of the best players I've seen. That we had David Demendorf, and then we were being coached by Piero. So being in that system, day in, day out, competing and training with those guys was awesome. And yeah, I think we won that season quite convincingly, actually. Yeah.
Of course, the Saints are doing it a bit tough this season, sort of mid to low on the table. What do you think, if you were to coach the Saints, what you would be working on?
Yeah, I'm not too sure actually. We've got a family chat. A lot of us are basketballers, or basketball strong in our family, and that's always one of the hot topics in the chat. But I don't know. I just don't think they're gelling at the moment. They still got the names. Obviously, Jordan Artine's in there, got a bit of experience. But I went along to the game on Sunday. The new import that they've got, I think he might be the guy to turn things around for them. He's real talented. He's kind of like a glue guy, sets good screens, makes the right passes, and makes big shots. So, I'm putting it out there. I think they're going to go all the way from where they are now. I think they're going to make playoffs. And they're going to be tough to beat once they hit the playoffs.
Well, the game, there was a pretty impressive result, actually, as well, in the weekend. It wasn't just a narrow win, it was a big one, too, as well. Of course, 2011, you decided to move back to rugby. Why the change?
Yeah. A few things. So, mainly, I kind of fell out of the rotation at the Saints, and the direction they were going in, and they were bringing in like that. I think that year we had about 6 fullbacks plus 2 imports. That's really 8 players. So there's not a lot of minutes left around for like young locals like myself. So I just felt like I needed a bit of a change. And then I was up the park because over the summer I'd always play flag and a bit of touch. Over the summer I was playing touch up Rangi Tui Park with just some of the cousins, and Steve arrived up there and was just playing around. And then he he just came up to me. He's like, "Oh, I'm moving down to Tawa this year. What are your thoughts on coming down?" And then we're looking for a 10. Do you want to come down? And then I was looking for a change. And then I went down to that first preseason training, and I kind of didn't look back.
What skills have you brought over from basketball to rugby?
Probably vision, and to be a basketball player, you got to have good hands. And I guess I've got good hands. I make the right passes, flip passes, and whatnot.
Petone this Saturday, big semi-final out there at the Petone Rec. In round 10, you drew 21 all. You came back to draw that game. It's going to be a big semi-final. Petone finishing top of the Swindale Shield. But you probably won't give too many secrets away tonight, Randall. But what areas do you think you might need to target Petone on Saturday?
No, I don't think there's much secrets to how we play. We've got a big pack. We use that big pack, but our blueprint is playing the right end of the field, and then our forwards will go to work. And it's been they've been hard to handle in the last 5 weeks or so, and hopefully it goes well again. But I know Petone have a big pack too, so it's going to be a good battle up front, and I guess it might come down to whoever's the most accurate on the day.
Exactly, and of course your forwards have just been outstanding since the Jubilee final started. Of course, OBU, you just absolutely demolished them in the forward play. That was an impressive display. So, and of course, you've got some good young forwards there as well that are really firing on all cylinders that make the guys in the back line just flourish.
Yeah, 100%. We even got adding Siale Lawaki into the lineup this week too. So there's another forward that we're going to be able to utilize out there. But also with Pips being available to us, kind of a whole different team when he's in a lineup. He's got that X factor, but he brings that good leadership, and he can communicate, and his extra skills in the midfield is real helpful as well.
Well, Andrew, it's been fantastic having you on the Huddy Hui tonight, and we'll see you down there on Saturday at Batoni Rec for what will be a cracking semi-final.
Awesome. Thank you.
Randall Bishop, fullback for Tawa, not Batoni. That was lucky I got that correct. Tawa taking on Batoni. That's the first of the 2 Jubilee Cup semi-finals this weekend. Batoni 1 on the table versus Tawa 4th. And then, of course, the other semi-final is Hello Boys Marist against Northern United. It'll be brilliant to see a Hut final, but also be just as good to see a Pairua final as well between Norths and Tawa. That would be simply outstanding. Also, factors there's also the Hardham Cup on as well, and there's some beauties of these games here as well. Oriental Rongotai versus Wainui Mata. Wainui Mata, since the second round, have started to play pretty well. So Orios at Kilburnie Park, potentially with Julian Savia in the ranks, should be able to win that game. And Old Boys University against the Upper Hutt Rams. Well, Upper Hutt Rams, if they turn up on the day, they could cause an upset or two. All those games kick off at 2:15 on Saturday. And, of course, is also the big decider as well between the All Blacks and Ireland. Of course, it's 1-1, and the All Blacks haven't won at Sky Stadium since 2016. They've had 2 losses and 2 draws since then. And I might be a bit of a soothsayer here, but I'm going to say that Ireland will win the series. I know that's probably not going to go down well for many people. But that is the Huddy Hui for tonight. We'll be back next week with our 60th episode and also our Jubilee Cup final episode. And we'll see you next week. Ciao for now.